Drew with 4085 Gamery, and in today's video I'm going to show you how you can create your own faction to play as in the game Armistice. One of the first things you'll notice when you play the game is that the factions that are originally in the game are kind of lame. So this creates an opportunity for you to be able to create your own faction that you can connect with a little more and have some fun. The first thing you'll want to do is create a folder to store your downloads and your new faction files. I went ahead on my desktop and created this new Armistice faction folder. Inside the folder I have the card back that we'll use, as well as a Nandect file called Armistice New Faction. You'll want to have both of these downloaded from the website. So to get the files you'll need to create a faction, you'll just go to the Armistice website and click this faction files emblem here. This will bring you to a Google Drive folder that will have the Nandect file that you'll need to use, and it also has an image that you can use for the back of the officer cards. You can go ahead and download both of these and place them in the file that you've set up to hold all of your new Armistice faction information. And you'll also need to download the software called Nandect. To download Nandect, you can go ahead and just Google search for it. You can go here to the Nandect website. Along the top, you'll see a button here that says Getting Started. And this first option at the top will give you the ability to download the Nandect program that we'll use to generate the cards for our new factions officers. So go ahead and get that downloaded. Once you've downloaded the Nandect program, as well as the Nandect card file and the card back from the website, you'll be ready to open the Google sheet called Armistice New Faction Maker. You'll be able to get to that Google sheet again by clicking on the download symbol of the faction files on the Armistice website. And inside that folder, you'll be able to open the Google sheet, the Armistice New Faction Maker. This is going to be set up as a view-only sheet, so you're going to need to make a copy of it that you'll be able to edit. To make a copy, you'll just click on File and then Make a Copy. I'll just save mine as copy of Armistice New Faction Maker. And once we have this new file made, we'll be ready to start putting in the information for our new faction. The first sheet we come across in the Google sheet is where all the final information for Nandect will be posted. We'll go ahead and go to the second sheet called Faction Choices. In here, you'll put in responses to each of these questions about your faction. All of these data fields are optional, so if you don't want to put an answer in, one will be generated for you. So for our faction, disposition will say they're a chill group. Their government type is a trade federation. Their culture of sailors. Their primary flag is aqua. And they have an anchor for their emblem. We'll go ahead and leave the faction name blank and let the AI come up with that name for us. Whenever you see yellow fields, this is going to be data that we're going to submit to an AI generator. So we'll go ahead and copy the information in this yellow block to be used in ChatGPT. So we'll go ahead and start a new ChatGPT session. And the first thing we'll do is we'll just paste that yellow block into the text field, and we'll submit that to ChatGPT and wait for their response. Now that we have the response, we'll want to make sure everything's in the correct format. You're going to want to have each of these categories listed with a semicolon and then the response on the same line. So this is looking good. We're just going to go ahead and copy all of the response we got from ChatGPT. We will copy and go back to our Google sheet, and we're going to go to this sheet called Faction AI Raw Data, and we'll just right click in cell A1 and paste all that information in. It's important it has the right format, so the faction name information all ends up in cell A1, faction origin ends up all in cell A3, and this looks good. It looks like every odd number we have the necessary information. So now we're ready to start generating some images. Just like when we generated the information for our faction, we're going to submit the information in these yellow cells to an AI generator. This time we're going to be generating images. You can use any image generator with this. I've used Midjourney in the past. I've used Leonardo. Lately I've been using the Microsoft image generator, which you can find by just Googling for the Copilot image generator. So we'll go ahead and paste in the information from that yellow cell that describes what the flag for our faction should look like, and we'll hit create. We're given a couple different options here. We'll go ahead and click on our favorite one. We'll want to right click the image and copy the image's address. Then going back to our Google Sheet, we'll want to paste that image address here in the image location. So now we have the image location of our faction flag pasted here.
We'll repeat this process to create images for all the officers and the leader of our faction. So go ahead and copy the information in this yellow cell for our leader's image. We'll jump over to our image creator, paste in the information from that cell and hit create. And again, once we have the results, we'll find the picture we like most. We'll go ahead, right click, copy image address, and then going back to our spreadsheet, we'll paste that image address and the image location, and you'll repeat this process for all of your officers. Once you finish putting images in all the image locations, there will only be 2 steps left before we go over to Nandeck. The first is you want to change your share settings to be able to share with anyone with the link. And the second step will be to go to the Nandeck sheet. That's the very first sheet in the workbook. And you want to remove all the hyperlinks. So go ahead and access all of them. And then if you scroll down, there's view more cell actions and remove link. Now remove all the hyperlinks from this sheet, which is important before we use Nandeck. The next step in the process will be to go ahead and open up the Nandeck software that we downloaded earlier, and then we'll need to open the deck that we downloaded from the Armistice game website. It should say Armistice New Faction. Go ahead and open that. And then the only change we'll need to make to this sheet is up at the top. You'll see link equals, it says put Google Sheet ID here. So if we go back to our Google Sheet, the sheet ID will be this long sequence of numbers and letters between these 2 hash marks. Go ahead and copy that ID. We'll come back to our Nandeck sheet. Go ahead and paste our ID in there with Control V. And now we should be ready to click Validate Deck. And once it's ready, we will build our deck. Alright, once Nandeck has finished compiling our deck, we can find it by going to our folder that we put the Nandeck file into. So here in the new Armistice faction folder, we can see all the images that were downloaded, and most importantly, the deck we need will be exported with the name AI deck. We can go ahead and rename that to something else. The reason you'll want to rename it is because if you were to make a future deck, it would be saved as AI deck and overwrite any previous ones. But now that we've changed the name to Sailor deck, this won't be overwritten. We'll also want to go ahead and delete these numbered images out. If we don't do that, any new factions will continue to use these same images. Now we're ready to import our new Sailor faction into the Tabletop Simulator program. Alright, when playing the game, you're still going to want to grab one of these old faction boxes, and that's so you can get a capital territory. So we'll go ahead and take this capital territory to use with our new faction. And then we'll want to go ahead and import our leaders and officers. To do that, you'll click Objects at the top, and we're going to be doing a component, and it's a custom deck. Go ahead and left click to say where you want the deck, and then right click to bring up the menu to select your items. We're going to go ahead and go to our folder that we put in earlier on our desktop, and we'll find our Sailor deck sheet that we renamed earlier here. You can put it in the cloud or local, it's up to you. The width is going to be 4 cards wide and the height will be 2 cards tall. And for the back, we'll go ahead and use that officer card back we downloaded from the Armistice website earlier. So we put in the face, we put in the back, we've put in the width is 4 and the height is 2. The last thing we need to set is that the number of cards is going to be 8. And we can go ahead and import that deck. I went ahead and deleted the old faction items other than the capital territory. Now we have a nice little faction description. We've got our 7 officer cards here. And we have our leader. So now we're ready to play as the Serene Maritime Syndicate. And that should be everything you need to know to start making your own factions. I hope it's something that's a lot of fun.